Hello and welcome to your new favorite mom hangout. This is your friend Nelli. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome to In Other Words Motherhood. I'm so excited that you're here. This is our third episode. You guys have been loving the content, but I wanted to give you a little break. Let me start by saying if you're watching us on YouTube, the video will look a little bit different. I still have my beautiful shower curtain as my background, but it's going to look a little bit different because I'm recording on my phone. You want to know why? Because my computer decided that today she was not going to record any, and I said she. Yes, it's a woman because this girl is giving me all tons of attitude. Um, she didn't want to record me today. Maybe it's my face. I don't know what she wanted, but she doesn't want to record me. So I'm recording on my phone. Now the audio is going to be on my computer. So you guys listening over Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other platform, you will be listening to it normally. But I just wanted to clarify that for YouTube. You might see my face looking a little bit different, or the background or the lights. I don't know how this is going to look. I'm recording on my phone. So please pray for me. So what are we gonna do today? Today is gonna be a little hangout episode. I have my little drink here. It's just a soda. Don't get too excited. But we just want to kind of just talk. I just want to talk to you. I asked you over on Instagram to send me little tidbits of information and little notes on things that you wish you knew before you had kids or funny stories that happened to you and things like that. I was going to show you guys and kind of put in the middle of the podcast a few of the voice memos that you sent me. Unfortunately, again, my computer decided that she was not going to have it. So because I'm recording on my phone, I am not able to put your voices on the podcast, but I promise for the next episode, we will. And I'm going to start having a few of you from Instagram on the podcast. So watch out for that. So a few of the things that you guys were telling me, let's just get started from the beginning. One of the number one things that all of you talked about was the level of exhaustion that you have as a parent, that before you have kids, you're always going to say, my kid would never. I would never. Oh, people talk about tired. I'm tired. I worked 14 hours today at work. Oh, sweetie, if I could go back, if I could go back and tell myself, you have no freaking idea what's coming for you. No idea. The level of exhaustion of a parent is something completely different, especially for mothers, I think, because when you're breastfeeding, when you're going through all that process, your little tiny human is literally sucking the life out of you, right? So you're even more exhausted, especially if you're breastfeeding or pumping. And even if you're not, waking up in the middle of the night, both mom and dad, if you're both doing it, it's just not I don't know how people do it all the time. Um so yeah, a lot of you were talking about sleep, that you wish you knew how much of exhaustion it would require. And one of you said that one of the things that you wrote, and this is from Candace from Las Vegas, she said, I didn't know that I wouldn't sleep for the first 2 years of their lives. And then in contrast to that, I had Joanne write to me, I didn't know that I would never sleep again, even when they're in college, because I miss them too much. Mine are 4 years old. Gosh, I can't even imagine them being in college or all of that stuff. But I basically, you guys kind of made me realize that I probably won't ever sleep again. So that was great to find out from a mom to college, aged kiddos. So yeah, that was fun. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Joanne is not giving us a lot of hope for the future. So yeah, if you want to become a parent or if you're a parent, say goodbye to sleep. Another thing that you guys talked a lot about, and I had this conversation today with somebody, cups. Cups and plates and utensils. Why is it that a tiny human who's 2, 3, 4 years old can have such a big preference for a specific color on a specific time and date? Because the next day they have a different one. Let's be real. Let's use my daughter, for example, Everly. Her favorite color is always pink. Today she decided it was purple. And she was asking me for a purple plate. Guess what? I don't have not even one purple plate in this house. I have pink, I have yellow, I have orange, I have blue, I have green. I have all the colors of the freaking rainbow except purple. But she decided today that her favorite color was purple. And that just went through. Like it just in her head, that was it. So a lot of the conversations that I had with you guys was either my kid will only drink from one specific cup, and mind you, a lot of the people that follow me, and you guys know my son is autistic, a lot of the people that follow me also have kids who are neurodivergent, and obviously that comes with a whole set of other. If you hear a weird sound, it's my dog in my bed, shaking and like making all types of noises. He's trying to cover himself in a blanket. Rocky, now he's sleeping himself. This is gonna be a great podcast, and I'm not gonna cut that. Anyway, this is the thing. It's like the preference that they have when autism is in the picture is even, I would say, like, it's even like 12 times worse when it comes to preferences with colors and sizes and shapes and textures, with a neurotypical kid too. It's like the amount of people that wrote to me telling me that their kid wouldn't eat with a certain fork because they didn't like the edges, or like because the straw wasn't clear, and the other one they liked the purple one or they liked the green one. Why? I just want to know why. And I try to remind myself, one of the things that I was gonna post that somebody sent me a little voice memo was about, how when before you had kids, you will go out to the store and you will look at people when their kids were having a tantrum or they were on the floor crying and screaming and doing all those things that you would be like, my kid would never dare to do that to me at the store. and, and I'm laughing because you guys know, like, I mean, if you have kids, your kids have or will at some point throw a tantrum somewhere. And the reality is that it happens to all of us. Is a very natural process. I had no idea that that wasn't about so much about disciplining the child rather than this is a natural process for all those kids because they have to develop. Their brains are nowhere where they need to be. And even though I know that and I'm saying that out loud, like I know what I'm doing, the reality is that I'm saying that to you, but it still drives me nuts. I don't know why it's so hard for me when I'm in the middle of those moments where they're losing their minds to remind myself, like, she's 3 or she's 2 or he's 4 or whatever. This is normal. The reality is it's very hard to tell myself that. I can't just like do it. If you hear the clip or see it kind of changing, I had to stop the video because Rocky was making too much noise. But anyway, besides the whole cup, plates, and all of that crisis, let's talk about the fact that before we had kids, and this one came from Candace from Las Vegas. She was talking about how she thought that she would never cook 2 meals or more for her family. Whatever I cook is what you're eating. I love how the attitude that we had before we had them. Where it's like, I would never cook 2 meals. And don't get me wrong, if some of you only cook 1 meal and you have your whole family eat that, good for you. I am so proud of you that you're able to do that with your family. That is not the case for me. Also, I have a special needs child. That means that his diet is very different. I have to cook at least 2 or 3 meals per day because my daughter, who loves broccoli, maybe today she won't eat it. Tomorrow, she'll decide that broccoli is the most disgusting thing she's ever seen. You want to know how you can get your child to stop eating something, to change their diet a little bit? Start buying in bulk. Anytime my kids like something, I start buying in bulk so that I have for the rest of the month. And then that's when they decide they don't want any more of it. They don't want any more of it. I don't know if you've been on TikTok or on Instagram, but there's a ton of reels of people saying the same thing where it's like, I went to Sam's Club and got specifically the same pouch that they like. Lucas with pouches. He loves pouches. And for me, that's a great way to get, some nutrients into him because his diet is very limited. Well, I get him the stuff. I get him the pouches that he loved the month before. I get a big box, at Costco. He doesn't want to see them. He doesn't want to smell them. He doesn't want to see them. He doesn't want to touch them. He doesn't want nothing to do with it. And now I have a box of like 80 freaking veggie pouches that he loved the month before. But now that I bought them in the bigger size, he doesn't want anything to do with it. Isn't it wonderful? Let's just be real. It's just sometimes I wonder, like, what did I think was gonna happen? Like, I feel like we're so judgy, even if, let's be real, if we say that we were not judgy before towards parents, we're all lying. Because the reality is that we absolutely are. We absolutely are. Before I had kids, I would look at people who were at restaurants. Oh, this was a big one. If you had your kid in a restaurant and you had an iPad out, I was absolutely looking at you. I'm not gonna deny it. I'm not gonna cover it up. I was so judgy. I was so judgy. I would look at you and think, why can your kid not entertain themselves? Why do you have an iPad when they're supposed to be eating? Right now, that's one of the only ways to survive for me. if my kids have an iPad, especially with Lucas who communicates with an AAC device. He has to have one. So who is to say that the kid that I saw with an iPad wasn't just using it for communication? And who cares if they were watching whatever they were watching, if they were watching Mickey Mouse and whoever? I don't care. I shouldn't have judged because you know what? As parents, when now Luis and I can look back and 100% I can tell you 90% of the stuff that I was judgy on or thought that I was going to do one way or the other, my kids have absolutely crushed everything that I thought was going to be our reality. It just they crushed it. There's no, I mean, what can I tell you? All the things that I thought. I thought my kids would eat what I wanted them to eat. I thought my kids would behave everywhere we went. They were not going to throw themselves on the ground. I was not going to be that mom. And guess what? I am that mom. In the morning, I used to think like, why don't people get ready to drop off their kids at school? Look at them. Girl, I can barely get myself out of the door. Like I made it, I made a commitment. Let's just be real. I made a commitment to myself that I was going to make sure to get dressed in the morning and take a shower. And I take a shower every morning before I drop them off at school because I want to be productive while they're in school. Other than that, the rest of my morning is crazy. Getting two kids out of the house to try to get them into the line on time. And then the thing with pickup line, let's be real. I get to school, and if I get to school 2 minutes late, there's no parking spot. If I get to the school too early, then my kids lose their mind because Lucas wants to get into the school because he loves school. And if I leave him in the car for too long, he loses his mind. There's no winning. There's no winning. Nothing. Let me see what else you guys talked about. Let me look at my little notes. Oh, one of you had some funny stories about the NICU. If you had kids in the NICU, because that's another thing I had no idea. I mean, even though I knew that I was having twins and that it could be you know, kind of complicated and they may end up in the NICU. I really didn't expect it to actually happen. But when my kids ended up in the NICU, if you've had a kid who's a preemie, you know that things just work different when you have little tiny itty babies. One of you sent me a message saying that in the NICU, if you've never had that experience, some of the kiddos, because they're so tiny, they have issues with trying to regulate their own, blood sugar. And sometimes, they need stimulation. So what the nurses do is they put a little bit of sugar water in their little mouth, with the binky or the pacifier. Well, in her case, when she went home, after they left the hospital, her husband kept putting sugar water in the baby's mouth. You're not supposed to do that. Of course, the baby was totally fine, but you just don't know. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I mean, everything that you thought goes out the window. Like, for example, one of the things that I didn't know when you put diapers on, I don't know if you know that, but if you, I mean, you probably do right now if you're a mom or a pro, right? But with the diapers, the little ruffles on the corners, you're supposed to put them out, like towards the outside. There are parents who put them toward the inside. No, it's supposed to be towards the outside so that it holds on all the blowout stuff. Blowouts don't discriminate. I used to think maybe it's because the parents are not putting on the diaper right. Absolutely not. It's not the parent. It's that blowouts don't discriminate. They're gonna happen whenever they want them to happen, especially with newborns. I mean, it's just all the things that I thought were gonna go right. Oh, I never wanted to have a minivan. Can we just talk about the fact that I thought I would never have a minivan? Minivan? What? No, that's disgusting. Guess what I have? A freaking minivan. And guess what? I absolutely love it. Once you go into the minivan club, you're never going back. And if you don't have one and you're judging me right now and you're like, I will never have a minivan. You just wait. You just wait. After that second or third kid, you're gonna be like, just get inside a minivan. Just get inside. I know they're not the prettiest from the outside, but there are some really cool ones right now. And the one that I have is not too bad. It doesn't look too like mommy-ish. I think my minivan is pretty cool, but that's just me. So if you're being judgy, whatever, I want to see you in a minivan. You will have a minivan if you have the means to do it, of course, but just don't judge. You don't know how amazing a minivan is. I know a lot of you are judging me right now, and I'm probably like, why is she making this a minivan campaign? I'm just letting you know. Never say never because you never know. I always thought I was going to have a small car, and then I had twins, and then I think I had like a RAV4 or something. It was working great, but Now that I have a minivan, I am never going back. Talking about the car, I always said my kids will never eat inside the car. If my kids don't have something in their mouth, like, little snack or something to drink, like if they don't have something to entertain themselves in the back of the car, it's gonna be hell. I don't have time for that. So yeah, my kids will never eat in the car. Just go look at the floor of my car. There's stuff there that has probably been there for 3 months. And every time I say I'm gonna clean my car, I never get to it. Because when? Like, when am I supposed to keep my sanity, keep my children fed, the house clean, laundry done? Let's just talk about laundry for a second. The amount of laundry that you do, special, I think for me, the most shocking part for laundry was those first few months when you realize all the laundry that you have on right, like you have to do right now. This is all from a tiny 8-pound baby. And I had twins, so it was like double that. And then add on top of that, mine and Luis's laundry too. Like, you will never stop. You will never stop doing laundry. And some of y'all have like 6 or 8 kids. I don't know how you're doing it because I'm struggling every single day to keep up with laundry. I don't know how long we've been talking, but let me just say this. This is going to be a really short episode. But if I can give you anything today, is this: know that all the things that we're talking about, all the things that I've mentioned to you, these are all very normal, very common, very, small issues. The reality is all small stuff. Like, yeah, we have a lot of laundry, nothing major. But one of the things that I wish that I knew before I got pregnant, even, is how much your life changes in general. How much can just feel overwhelming. I wish that I could go back and tell myself, even though you're not ready, you're going to figure it out. We all do. We all figure it out because the reality is that we don't really have a choice, right? Um so I hope that even though we're just joking, just talking and joking about all this stuff, that you know that it's funny, we laugh and all that, but I know how hard your day is most of the time. I know. I know that sometimes you cry. I know that sometimes your kids are driving you so crazy that you just want to run for the hills. I know that. I know. And in my case, and I know a lot of you who are listening who have special needs children, that adds so much more on your plate. I just hope you know that it's okay to laugh. It's okay that we're having this conversation, but it's also okay for you to feel overwhelmed and know that you're not alone. There's a lot of us right now listening to this or me talking to you that know that this can get very, very difficult. And you are doing an absolutely amazing job. And you know how I know it? I know it because you're listening to this. And I know it because you care and you worry and you're thinking right now, oh man, she was talking about all this stuff. Her kid eats broccoli, mine doesn't. She has a minivan. I don't have a minivan. Or maybe you hear somebody talking about how their kids behave so well or all the time and yours don't. It's okay. We're all in different journeys. We're all in a different path. But at the end of the day, we're all doing the same thing, trying to raise the loves of our lives because those babies, those kids, those teenagers, whatever, however old your kid is, they are your life. And it's very hard. And we're all trying to do the best that we can. So just know I'm here. I'm listening. I always am. You can always message me on Instagram or wherever you can find me. And I hope that this podcast, even though we just made a few jokes for 10 or 15 minutes, however long we've been recording, I hope that this podcast gives you a space to talk and to feel comfortable and to know that, again, we're all in different journeys. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to do the best we can. And the laundry will be there, and the house will be messy, and my car is gonna stay disgusting for the next 6 months, probably. Because when am I gonna go clean it anyway? But at the end of the day, just make sure that you know that you need to give yourself grace because you are an amazing parent, an amazing mom, an amazing dad, whatever you are. You're amazing because I bet that you love your kids. I bet that even when your kid is losing their shit in the Target parking lot, you're still loving them. So I know you're a great parent. Give yourself some grace. pat yourself in the back and come here next week for a new episode where we're going to talk about something fun. I have no idea what we're going to talk about next week, but I'm going to make sure that it's something that is going to fill your cup and make you feel understood, make you feel heard, and know that you're not alone. And that's the goal of all of this. So thank you for being here. I love you all, and I hope I see you next week. Bye.